An abscess in the hoof can actually migrate to the joint, which is really bad. That's not normal. He's more swollen on this one, and that screams joint infection.
In a recent video where we were showing you guys our rotational grazing routine here on the farm and showing you how we move our cattle around, we noticed, and a lot of you noticed, that our bull, Watson, was limping.
This spring, we bought a new bull. We call him Watson, and he was a very good yet expensive investment onto our farm and for our cattle.
He is a registered Hereford bull, and when you raise cattle, your bull is the most important animal in your entire herd because every calf that comes out of your cows is going to be 50% of what your bull is.
So we met with a Hereford breeder that specializes in amazing bulls. He helped us figure out the best kind of bull and the best numbers for a bull that would suit our herd perfectly. And that is how we came upon deciding to bring Watson home to our farm.
So we've had Watson since March of this year, and he's made it through one full breeding season with our cows. We have about 15 cows and heifers that Watson was in charge of breeding this year. Hopefully they're all pregnant, but we are hoping to get many, many, many years out of Watson, and that's why him having this limp could be such a big deal.
If this limp is a permanent issue, like it's not going to get better, it could possibly prevent him from being able to mount our cows and heifers, and it may prevent him from walking all over our property. And our property is big.
Right.
Lots of hills and ups and downs that we really need a bull to be able to go everywhere that the cows go.
Right. A bull who can only stay in a small pen doesn't really do us any good. So after we shot that video where we noticed that he was originally limping, we put him into his bullpen with a couple of steers, and we thought that if we just let him rest, it would get better on its own. But it's been about a week now, and he's still limping.
Now this has happened once before with a different bull, with our original bull Tex, where he must have twisted his ankle or stepped on a black walnut or something, and he was limping. But after about 5 days, he was all better. So we wanted to give Watson the opportunity to heal like that also. But it's been long enough and he still is limping. So yesterday morning I actually called the vet to see if we could bring him in, and they are not available until tomorrow.
So we've decided that we are going to move him up here to what's called our barn lot today, so that not only can we observe him a little bit better while he walks up here, but he'll also have a day to rest here before we load him in the trailer and take him to the vet tomorrow afternoon.
So let's head down to the bullpen and see if we can lead him up to the barn lot here.
So here's our bullpen behind us with Watson and our 2 steers. So we need to get Watson out and keep the 2 steers in. And then we need to walk Watson all the way along this front pasture. It's probably 200 or 300 feet over to where the barn lot is. So it's a little bit of a hike, but that will give us plenty of opportunity to see how he's walking, whether or not he's still limping, which I'm pretty sure he is. But just on the off chance it healed overnight, that would be great.
Now we are going to be exercising quite a bit of caution. Even though Watson is a very calm bull and, you know, he's injured and not moving very quickly right now, we still need to be careful and remember that he is a bull and bulls are unpredictable.
Right. So we're going to go get him out and get him up to the barn lot. We'll bring you guys along the best we can. Come on, Watson.
Looks like he's still favoring that ankle.
Yeah, looks like he's holding it up a little bit. Come on, Watson.
Here he comes.
Okay. Yep, there, he just limped now. Wonder if he's just got a sore spot on his pad that sometimes he hits and sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah.
Come on, Watson. There you go, buddy. Well, that went really smoothly. He pretty much followed me all the way up here. So it's always nice when that works out. He knew where he was supposed to be going and he went right to that spot. So I rewarded him with some cattle cubes and now he's having a little snack. So he'll be able to rest up here until tomorrow afternoon when we take him to the vet. This will make the whole process a lot less stressful for him by being able to move him today part way and then the rest of the way tomorrow. It's always a stressful situation for cattle to be loaded in a trailer, taken somewhere. So either way, it's going to be a stressful situation for him, but this will make it just a little bit less stressful. He was definitely still limping on the way up here. It wasn't like a limp where like every step he's limping, but it's like maybe like every 10th or 15th step, he almost like trips or hits a sore spot or something. So it's definitely something we need to get checked out. Hopefully it's something very simple. Sometimes they can step on a thorn or something like that and get a little abscess in their foot. So who knows what it is. The vet, I'm sure, will find it and take good care of it.
Slow down. You got about 4 feet. 3 feet slow. 2 feet. 18 inches. Slow. Stop. I think it's pretty dang good.
Heck yeah. Might be the best I've ever done on the first try. Well, it's the next day. It is about 12:15, and we have to have him at the vet by 1:30 at the latest. So we just backed our trailer up to our loading chute here, our squeeze chute, and we are going to try to get him loaded. Typically, he goes through this whole process pretty well. We've had to run him through the squeeze chute a couple times already, and he's done pretty well, but you just never know, especially since he isn't maybe feeling the best right now.
So we're going to do our best to bring you guys along with the camera and stuff, but ultimately safety is the biggest issue. So we hope you get to see a lot of it, but we just got to be safe. So let's get started bringing them into the corral system.
An hour. It took us an hour, but we can finally get on the road. All right, well, we made it to the vet. Dr. Mike, you guys have met Dr. Mike before. He's going to take good care of Watson today, I'm sure. So we're not exactly sure what happened. We don't know if, with black walnuts on the ground, if he twisted it somehow, if he stepped on a thorn and has an abscess. We don't know what's going on, but it's been about 10 days and he's still limping.
Okay, and this is your breeding bull that you, so he's pretty important.
Yeah, he's a registered Hereford, and
yeah,
we're hoping to get a lot of years out of him.
Well, we'll kind of on animals that come in that are lame, that are limping. We kind of like to watch them walk out here and just kind of get a beat on how they're walking.
Okay.
And then we'll probably put them in here, like maybe a previous video that was out. We'll evaluate them in the squeeze chute, and then we'll turn them over. About 90% of animals that come in limping or lameness is usually the foot. So,
Okay.
but occasionally it's the knee or the hip, and then this is the front leg though.
It is,
right?
yeah.
So, and you don't have any other bulls with him. So a common thing we see is bulls fighting. You know, boys are going to be fighting, but not the case here, I guess.
He's had a couple steers, but no one,
Yeah.
no one that's any competition.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well,
And generally, he's very good natured. I mean, even today, it took a while to get him loaded, but that's only because he wanted to just stand. Like, it's not because he was being aggressive.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to move. So.
All right. So the right front, just
Right front.
intermittently lame, not all the time. Is he ever just holding it like toe touching?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm thinking maybe, you know, like you said, maybe an abscess where like there's just a sore spot where sometimes he hits it and sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. And he's never had any foot problems before?
No.
Okay. Let's take his temperature. Okay, we're gonna go for a ride here.
So if he did have an abscess, could that, I mean,
It
that
could.
cause an
Sometimes an abscess in the hoof can actually migrate to the joint, which is really bad. Hopefully, it's not the case here. So we'll tie the back feet first. These feet can become very dangerous, so especially this one we're tying.
Yeah.
Bull abscesses are usually in the toe, and you can't even see them. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but we'll put the hoof tester in. So this is a hoof tester. This is just applying pressure to the hoof to see if he has like a sole bruise or an abscess in the hoof.
Okay.
And if he did, he should respond. So it's kind of like localizing where they're hurting at since they can't talk. Most abscesses in the front feet of cattle are the inside toe.
Okay.
If it's a joint issue, oftentimes you can kind of get some pain response by manipulating the joints, by flexing these toes. But bulls, they can be pretty stoic. Sometimes even squeezing really hard, you can't get a response. So I'm gonna take a grinder, it's non-painful. We're just gonna kind of clean the surface and see if it opens up any type of soft tissue or little pit or an abscess or anything like that. So probably an abscess. He's got a little bit of flaking there, but no big deal. So his hoof wall is starting to roll here a little bit, which you can get with age, but that actually is a prime place that they can trap bacteria and little rocks and debris. So you see as we clean that off, we're starting to see some little defects. This is where kind of some mud is, and so this one's actually looking pretty clean right now, and this one's not. And actually the dirt kind of goes over here, so I'm gonna grind a little more off, then put the hoof testers back on. You can see this line right here,
Okay.
and that's abnormal. So that's gonna be areas I'll kind of be focusing on. I'm gonna grind that down a little more, and then we'll probably use a hoof knife after that. This is some sole bruising, not horrible. I mean, it's just something we'll see with that dark pigmented area.
Okay.
So nothing's really showing up. I mean, this is all kind of normal stuff you'll see with mature bulls with the little dirt lines. So
Okay.
it was mentioned a little bit ago that he's a lot, if you compare the 2 feet, he's more swollen on this one.
Yeah.
And I did see where this is kind of peeling off, you know, this kind of some soft tissue. So I was gonna investigate this a little more before we got too carried away here. But I think his problem is probably on the soft tissue spot. So
Okay.
So this may have been, this is called the bulb of the heel. This is where you start transitioning from hard hoof,
Okay.
avascular, no blood vessels or supply tissue to kind of the softer tissue.
Okay.
And if they have injuries here or what have you, it can be pretty painful because it's soft tissue. One thing we check for, foot rot is a disease and a condition or contagious in sheep and goats, but not cattle, but it's something they get in between the toes. This isn't foot rot. Sometimes we'll see they'll catch their hoof on something and step in it and they'll pull up and kind of tear the bulb of the heel off a little bit.
Okay.
And so dirt will start dissecting in there. And then it could turn into something worse. Now this, as far as like a joint infection, what we're gonna have to do is kind of open that up so stuff doesn't get in there and then can't get out. So we're gonna have to kind of trim some of the back of this off and let it just basically grow out. We'll give him an antibiotic injection since he has a fever. Okay. And then we'll glue a block on this toe, on the good toe. And have you had that done before? Mm-hmm. So that block is kind of like in the auto shop. It's kind of like JB Weld, and it's methyl methacrylate, and it'll basically glue a block on this good toe. It'll raise the bad toe off the ground, let it heal, make it more comfortable, and it's kind of like crutches for a cow. So cow crutch.
So can you feel anything though, like in between there? I mean,
I can't feel any like foreign bodies or thorns or anything, and usually that's not the case, but that does make sense why he's so red and inflamed back here.
Didn't like that.
No, you see how that kind of goes underneath there?
Yeah.
That's not normal. It's probably going to get into a little blood, which is actually a good thing.
Okay.
It's kind of like trying to walk with a rock in your boot.
Well,
but now if you see here, you can see the source. So I'm peeling this back.
Okay.
And here's all the mud and stuff trapped in there.
Okay.
And so that eventually could turn into hoof abscess and probably is starting to infect some of the tendons that come down here.
Okay.
So, but you can see that.
So you think that is the issue?
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
That's good to hear that is.
So you can actually, I wish I had a headlamp or something like that.
Yeah, you can see it.
You can see kind of that hole in there.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I can see. Go ahead.
we're gonna just pare this out a little bit more. The good news, I mean, this is probably gonna make 100% recovery. I mean, it really should. Okay. Where the hoof meets the hair is all swollen, and one side is swollen, and that screams joint infection. Okay. Plus, he would be 3-legged. This is just a soft tissue issue. Look, I made it rhyme.
Could it have spread though, had we not treated it?
Yeah, definitely. It could go up into the joint and then ruin him. I'm using antibiotics in him because it's in the soft tissue. It could get in the tendons, could get in the joint. So right now I'm gonna prep the hoof for the hoof block.
Okay.
We're putting it on this one. So basically we're gonna just kind of freshen the edges up and He's got really big, wide feet. So, they don't make a boot big enough for him. It has sides. And then the bottom gives him some traction, and we put the glue in here, but I gotta modify it. so we started to put this hoof block on. He just got such a wide toe that they don't make him any wider than this, so we're actually gonna modify it. Could you hold that for me? We're just gonna trim off the inside so this thing will stay on his foot. It should stay on there for probably a month. 2 weeks would be okay for him. Okay. But if it stays on there for 3 months, at that point we'll need to take it off and intervene because it can mess up their hoof growth. He is just a very large-footed bull. So we're gonna put a little bit on this edge and kind of build this hoof up here.
Okay.
Look, it's got this little crack in here. We're just gonna like fill that. I mean, this is an aerosol bandage. And this is just gonna kind of coat that area. And that's fine. Best thing for him, I would just turn him out in the field, and just as long as he's not like in a muddy lot, you know. So basically we're just gonna let this set up. We'll give him 50 milliliters of an oxytetracycline antibiotic.
Okay. That's kind of a long acting.
Yeah, this one will last about 7 days. Yeah, and we'll give him a little injection for pain since he's in a little discomfort. And then if you guys want, we can send something home in the food. You know, if you want to put some pills in his food or something like that. So
okay.
You know, I think once that granulates in and heals, I mean, he should make 100% recovery. So,
okay, good.
Especially getting him on some antibiotics, you know. And the reason, so hoof abscesses, they're in the hoof. They don't run a fever hardly ever, unless it's in a joint. The reason he was running a fever is because it was in the soft tissue. Okay. Okay, so now we have the hoof block is set up, the glue, and so now we're going to go ahead and untie his feet. We gave him a pain injection that'll last till tomorrow, and we're going to give him an antibiotic injection once we get him down.
Okay.
And I think he'll be like new here in just a week or two. So.
Well, good.
Well, I guess he just wants to go that way, so that'll work. And bring your trailer gate around a little bit. Woo! We did it.
Thank you for everything.
Appreciate it. Yep.
And so, if that doesn't fall off in a month, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of go from there. Or if he's still limping in like 2 weeks, then.
If he's still limping in 2 weeks, I think it's probably just gonna need a little more time to heal in.
Okay.
And I'm not really too concerned about it. For the most part, good news.
Okay, good.
So,
yeah.
But if he doesn't get better in 2 weeks, then give me a call. But I bet he'll be all right. So, all right. Thanks
Sounds
again.
good.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Well, we're back to the homestead. We're not going to leave Watson up here in the barn lot like we did before we left. Instead, we're going to take him right down in the trailer back to the bullpen so he can be back with the 2 steers, and then we can keep a good eye on him there. But at least in the bullpen, he has his hay, he has his water right there, his minerals and everything real close, and he doesn't have to walk around a whole lot while this all heals up.
So let's go back the trailer up to the bullpen and let him out.
All right, well, we're back to the bullpen. Let's go ahead and let Watson out and see how he's walking with his new special shoe. There he goes. Well, he wasn't limping when we got out of the trailer, so that was a very good sign. Hopefully that means a full recovery is in his future.
We were so worried that we were going to have to replace him after only having him for a little over 6 months. But thankfully, the vet thinks he's going to make a full recovery so he can live many, many more years here on our homestead.
He did say, though, that had we not brought him when we did, if that infection would have spread up into the joint, that there is a good chance that that could have been kind of a career-ending injury.
Yeah.
I'm glad we gave it a little bit of time, because you can't run to the vet every time there's a problem when you have a farm, but there is a time when you say, you know what, this seems like it's going on a little too long and it's time to get the vet involved.
Thankfully, everything worked out really well. We can sleep better now, and more calves to come, hopefully for years and years.
Well, if you enjoyed this video today, I hope you'll go back and watch the video where we originally saw Watson limping. It's a video where we kind of show an overview of our entire rotational grazing procedure here on the homestead. So go back and check that out if you enjoyed a video like this.
Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care, and God bless.
God bless.